Hi everybody, I hope you are all well and you all had a very lovely Christmas. It is the 28th of December. It's quite early, but even so, I'm probably going to have the lights on for most of the day because today is a horrible weather day. It is going to be dark cloud and heavy rain all day, and it's so frustrating because I got home on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas, for those of you who are in countries that don't have Boxing Day. And I dealt with stuff around the house, all this lot, and did a little bit of reading. And then yesterday, the 27th, I just spent the entire day reading and I got through the book that I'm here to review. And so this morning I was like, you know what, I really would like to go for a walk today. And I was like, let's see what the weather is like. And it is horrible. It's going to be horrible all day. So it's a day inside, I think, watching some movies. I think I might watch some Harry Potter films or some Christmas films, I'm not sure. But that is my plan for today, along with getting you this review. So yeah, tomorrow it looks like it's going to be better. So plan for a walk tomorrow, definitely. I had a very lovely Christmas with my parents. We had a more of a relaxed Christmas this year because of my mum with her elbow and such. My mum and dad weren't able to go in the loft and get Christmas decorations, so we didn't have any decorations. My mum still was able to make a 3-course meal for all of us. I helped her out with doing loads of prep over multiple days and such, and helping out on the day as much as I could, as well as my dad. And so yeah, and we just like watched TV that we wanted to do. We just took our time doing what we wanted to do, and it was really lovely. So yeah, quite unconventional as it were, having no Christmas decks up and such, and just going with the flow. But it was really, really lovely. I had a wonderful time. All of us did, and yeah, and I back to work on the 3rd of January. So I've got a bit of time now to just chill, do what I want to do, and I'm so happy to have it because the January to March is our busiest time of year where I work, and so it is hell on earth. So to have a bit more of a chill before I have to go back to that is wonderful. So but anyway, enough about my Christmas and such. I'm here to review the book I've been reading, which is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. Now, because I was busy, helping my mum and everything, doing Christmas prep and that, I didn't actually get to pick this up until Christmas Eve when I took it to my mum and dad's house. And because of constantly being distracted by amazing food and the company and stuff on TV and all that jazz, while I was at my mum and dad's, so from about 1 p.m. On Christmas Eve until I left at just after 10 a.m. on Boxing Day, I had gotten through about 30 pages. Yeah. And through the rest of Boxing Day, I think I got through like another 60 pages. So when I picked this up yesterday, I was around the 90-page mark, and I got through 300 pages yesterday. So, being a day yesterday where I didn't have anything that I needed to do, and I was just able to completely focus on my book, and in my house where it's obviously quiet and nothing to distract me, I was really able to focus and get this book read. So really, I read it over like 4 days in total. So that, to be honest, I think if it wasn't for certain things that I really wanted to have answers to, I might have DNF'd this book. Now, The Flatshare, in case you don't know what it's about, this is about 2 individuals called Leon and Tiffany, or Tiffy as she's referred to. Tiffy has gotten out of a relationship with a guy called Justin, who she'd been seeing for a long time, and Justin had left her, and so she desperately needed to find a place to stay. Leon works nights as a nurse in a hospice, and he needs a flatmate basically in order to help pay the bills. He has a situation with his brother who is in prison, and so he decides to rent out his one bedroom flat for specific hours of the day so that he can live in it during the day, where he'll just literally, sleep and all that lot, get ready, go to work and everything. And whoever he shares a flat with will be there through the night. So Tiffy ends up being that person, and it works well because of their schedules and everything. She works through the day, he works through the night. It fits them, and it's about these two and their relationship and how it starts off, a little bit frisky in regards to, there's friction, should I say, not frisky, because of, various things, habits, single behavior habits that people have, and just living habits in general, and how they are complete opposites, and it develops into a friendship, and then possibly more so. So this tells a story, or their story, over, well, it's 6 months, and then the epilogue jumps by 2 years. So it is like near 2.5 years, but nearly everything apart from the last chapter is within 6 month period. And yeah, and it follows their story. So I went into this with no knowledge of best writing, none of that. It literally, the Flatshare official trailer, because it's been adapted and released earlier this month. I think it was the beginning of the month, possibly. It got released on Paramount Plus, which I don't have, but the trailer was just following me everywhere, and I was like, oh, for the love of God, leave me alone. And the moment I bought the book, the moment the trailer disappeared off all of my social media platforms. So it was like, oh, okay. You just wanted me to buy the book, didn't you? So yeah, so I went into it just knowing the trailer, the premise and everything, and not having read anything of this before. And I have to say, I am really conflicted by this book. This is a Marmite book, from what I've seen evidence online and from talking with bestie Sarah. Hey, Sarah. And it's, you either love it or you hate it. And I feel I am wedged somewhere in the middle, because there were great pros, but there were massive cons to this. So let's give some examples. Tiffy is a book editor, and she is working on editing a book on knitting and crochet. And she has a best friend who is who works in criminal law. She's a criminal law barrister. Leon has a person who he works with who is really great at doing knitting and crochet, and he has a brother in prison who is caught in, obviously criminal law. I really hated the fact that it was like, oh God, it is so obvious. It is so obvious that these two things are going to cross over. It was like, as soon as Gertie, who is Tiffy's best friend, revealed that she was a barrister, I was like, oh, okay, so she's going to help out Leon. As soon as it was revealed that Leon's friend sewed, knitted and crocheted, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to help out Tiffy. It shouldn't be that obvious, but it was that obvious, okay? I did like, so that was a con, obviously. Just to clarify, that was a con. I did like the development of their friendship. It was pretty, pretty interesting, because they'd leave post-it notes everywhere for each other, because obviously they crossed over at different times, and it was very specific that they weren't allowed to meet. And so you had all of this information back and forth via post-it notes, and it was like, okay, that was fun to read. But the actual, so that's a pro. Con, the actual chemistry between them, though, was just a bit meh. I get the attraction, but I don't necessarily see it lasting. You know, it just kind of felt like this is just kind of thrown together. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I really loved the various friendships that they have in their individual lives, and obviously the crossovers that do happen. I really liked it. There was one in particular, Mr. Pryor, and there's a whole adventure with Mr. Pryor and to do with his past and trying to find someone. Absolutely fucking loved that. But when it came to the final moment, it was just literally like there was a quite a touching moment. It's like, oh, okay, bye. Never gets acknowledged ever again by anyone. It was a big part of the book for me, and it just went, why? Bye, see ya. We don't need to acknowledge that anymore. Why not? It was really lovely, and like, oh god, there's this whole there were these things that kept on being mentioned where it's like, well, at some point it's going to come to something, isn't it? Like there was an obsession with foxes that lived around the flats, and the guy from flat 5, but the foxes were throughout obviously the cyclone period up to the point where winter kind of came along, and it's like, okay, because obviously, hibernation, all that jazz. So right, okay, yeah, I got you. The guy in flat 5, he just randomly gets brought up, but he's a big thing that Leon's like, I've got to communicate to about the weird guy in flat 5. And I thought, oh god, right at the beginning of the book, and I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting, blah, blah, blah. And literally, it's just like a tiny sentence gets mentioned about 3 times, and then finally there's this big reveal at the end as to who the guy in flat 5 is, and I'm like, he's not even been a part of the story, so why are you emphasizing that when you could have emphasized Mr. Pryor and his story? It was just a bit like, construction wise, it was all over the place. But I did like characters. That there was one character in particular who I had real issue with his characterization, and that was Justin. Now, Justin, as I said, was Tiffy's ex, and they broke up at the beginning of the book. Well, they'd already broken up at the beginning of the book because she's looking for a flat because she has to move out. And he keeps popping up throughout. And it's one of those things, this book, where it's tagged to be like a romantic comedy, but it's not a romantic comedy. It's got so much more to it underneath. And I was like, when that thing got revealed, I was like, okay, this is making more sense now. And I was like, are we going into Colleen Hoover territory here? And if you know the book that I read earlier this year of hers, then you know what the heck I'm talking about. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. But it was just, it's like Beth was about here with darkness and depth and characterization of someone like Justin, and Colleen Hoover is down here. She as in, she goes to the barrel depths of somebody's personalities and such, and to be able to understand why this person is the way that they are. And Beth, it was kind of a bit too, I don't want to say light-hearted, but I want to say a bit too airy. If you want me to go down those dark kind of paths with you, you have to give me that characterization in order to understand why this person is the way that they are. So I was like, oh, if she only did that a bit more, then it could have been that. And so it was kind of, so I had, most of the time I was sat there going, oh, there's some really great stuff here. Oh, I can't believe she just did that. Oh, that's actually I really like that interaction. Oh, but she screwed up that interaction there. Oh, why is she taking, like, she's rushing through this bit, but she's taking forever with that thing over there, which is absolutely of no relevance. It was just, yeah, I feel so conflicted about this because I really liked the characters of, Gertie, Mo, Leon, Tiffy, Richie, and various other people that you come across. But when the actual depths and characterizations of them, they're not really there. That's why I was like, well, I don't really believe that this is going to last. I don't really believe this situation. And it's just a bit weird. And what also I think causes conflict in this is this constant unsettled feeling, is the way in which she's written it. And what I mean by that is that it jumps back and forth. You have a Tiffy chapter, and then you have a Leon chapter, back and forth throughout the entirety of this book. And Tiffy's chapters are written with, very long sentences. Obviously, conversations are written in quotation marks, what you see in standard, books. Whereas Leon's chapters, because he is so different, I get what she was doing. I totally get why she did this. And what she has is that she has very short, sharp sentences with him. He's quite abrupt with his, in his chapters, should I say, with descriptions of things that are happening or what things look like, that kind of thing. But what really hurts me, is that all of it is written, conversations, should I say, just to clarify, all conversations are written as a script. So it will say like Leon, colon, and then what he said. Dr. Patel, colon, what he said. A bit of description or a bit of action, like took a step forward or was a bit aggressive in tone. Miss Dr. Patel, colon, what he says. Leon, colon, what he said. And it's like, oh my God, why? I know that they are polar opposites already. I don't need the chapters to be written in polar opposite ways at the same time. It just, it irked me. And it goes like that all the way to the end of the book. Yes, as Tiffy makes an influence on his life and such, his sentences do get longer. I did notice that because it shows that his development of character and all that jazz. But at the same time, it's like, but it's not necessary, so why are you doing it? So I have this weird thing. I liked characters. I liked the story. I thought it was interesting that it's, marketed as a rom-com, but it's not a rom-com. I liked certain situations. I liked certain interactions with people. I liked the fact that there were multiple things going on here. But I didn't like the way it was structured. I didn't like characterization. I didn't like the fact that stories come and go. For every positive, there is a negative. So I am wedged in the middle here. I'm so conflicted by this. And I totally get why some people have picked this up and stopped because of the structuring. It's very strange. And I totally get why this is a Marmite book. It makes so much sense. So I'm like, I really don't know where I sit with this book, honestly. It is original, but it's convoluted at times. It's funny, but the fun doesn't last long. It's trying to do some dark stuff, but it doesn't know what the darkness is. It's completely unsettling. And so, yeah, I'm in a really tough spot with this one, guys. I really don't know how to rate this. I think because I'm so conflicted, I probably have to give it like a 3 out of 5 or something, because I don't know. I don't know. And I haven't had a book conflict me like this in a long time. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. Shall we ask my usual questions? Would I read this again? Yes, but I would have to be in the right kind of state of mind for it, the right kind of maybe like something like this where I've got a lull between, as it were, Christmas and New Year, and so um it'll fill the gap, but I'm not reading it because, oh my God, I really need to read about Tiffy and Leon again. Would I recommend this to anyone? If someone I knew was interested in Beth O'Leary, I would say give it a go, but I would warn them about the structuring. Would I read any more of Beth O'Leary's work? Yes. Now, I'm being very, very prominent on that because there was some really great stuff in there. It just felt like she wasn't pushing it hard enough, or she wasn't going dark enough. And I feel like, I don't know if it's just because of the situation with the Flatshare, so because their lives are completely different and don't cross over, that until obviously a certain part of the book, it means that you're reading two completely separate stories. So I quite like to read another one of her books where she doesn't have a situation quite like that, where it's something different, and give that a go and see how things are. But yeah, it's an interesting premise. It's got some goods, but it's got some bads as well. Can't say any more than that. And as for as I said, the adaptation, I haven't been able to watch it because I only have Paramount. I don't have Paramount Plus. I've only been able to watch the trailer and a few clips off YouTube, and it looks like Justin's character, they've done some interesting stuff with him, and there was footage of him inside the flat talking to Leon with a box of Tiffy stuff, which doesn't happen. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I mean, I don't mind the cast and everything, but I'm only limited to literally probably a few minutes of this, so I don't know what else they've changed or anything, but from what I can see, it looks okay. I'll include a link to the trailer in the description below. So if you've read this book, I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below. Leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely to you that you decide. And I'll be back with my thought on my next read, which is The Yellow Wallpaper and Other Selected Writing by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. But I have decided to give myself a little break because I've got some various Christmas gifts, various puzzles and that I want to do on these last kind of week before I go back to work. So I have decided that this week is going to be book free. I will still obviously be doing my review of the year videos and such, but I'm not going to be doing any reading. So this is going to be my first read of 2023. And so yeah, I'll be back in 2023 with that review. So the next time you'll see me will be my review of the year and let you know what I'm doing in 2023 and show you the books I got for Christmas, because I got a couple of books and they are kind of books I am so excited to read, and so yeah, they're reserved for 2023. So I'll see you later then. Bye.